The history of naval warfare is filled with fascinating paper projects, ambitious battleships designs that were planned, drawn, and sometimes even started but never fully realized. These concepts offer a glimpse into the naval arms races and the strategic thinking of the time, revealing what navies aspired to build before political, economic, or technological realities intervened. Here are some of the most notable battleship concepts that were never in production. Starting off with American designs. At number 1, the Montana-class battleships. The United States Navy's final and most ambitious battleship design, intended to be a more heavily armed and armored successor to the legendary Iowa class. These ships were a response to the powerful Japanese Yamato class. With a displacement of over 60,000 tons and a main armament of 12 16-inch guns, they were designed for pure brute force. However, as the war progressed, naval strategy shifted. The undeniable dominance of the aircraft carrier in the Pacific proved battleships, while still powerful, they were no longer the ultimate naval weapon. Consequently, the 5 planned Montana-class ships were never built, and the resources were instead diverted to the production of vast carrier fleets. Number 2, the Tillman Maximum battleships. They were a series of colossal and visionary U.S. Navy design studies proposed in 1916. Pushed by South Carolina Senator Benjamin Tillman, these concepts were a response to the naval arms race of the era and explored the absolute limits of battleship size and firepower. The most notable designs ranged up to 80,000 tons, armed with a staggering 15 18-inch guns, far surpassing anything afloat at the time. While an impressive feat of theoretical naval architecture, these designs were never seriously considered for construction due to their astronomical cost and immense impracticality. Number 3, the hybrid battleship aircraft carrier. These designs attempted to merge the powerful main battery of battleship with the flight deck of an aircraft carrier. The idea was to create a single vessel that could both engage in surface combat and launch airstrikes. However, naval strategists realized quickly the two roles were fundamentally incompatible. The shock from the battleship's gun would damage the aircraft, while the flight deck would interfere with the gun's firing arcs. The design was a fascinating, though flawed, attempt to create a jack-of-all-trades warship. Ultimately, the focus shifted to building specialized, dedicated ships, and the hybrid concept was never pursued. Number 4, the Sovetsky Soyuz class battleships. They were a class of 4 battleships laid down by the Soviet Union in the late 1930s. Designed to be a match for the most powerful battleships of the time, they were to be armed with 9 16-inch guns and have a displacement of over 60,000 tons. The ships represented a major effort by the Soviets to build a modern blue water navy capable of competing with other world powers. However, their construction was plagued by issues, including poor design, a lack of specialized materials, and a limited industrial base. The outbreak of the German invasion in 1941 forced the suspension of all work. The unfinished hulls of the ships were later either scrapped or used as defensive barriers, marking a premature end to the Soviet Union's most ambitious battleship program. At number 5, the design A-150 class. Better known as the Super Yamato class, was the Imperial Japanese Navy's planned successor to the famous Yamato class battleships. Conceived in the late 1930s, this ultimate battleship was designed to maintain a qualitative edge over any rival, particularly the United States Navy. It would have been an unparalleled warship, with massive displacement and an unheard of main armament of 6 20.1-inch guns, the largest ever proposed for a warship. The immense scale of the A-150 was intended to counter America's superior industrial capacity by ensuring that each Japanese battleship was individually more powerful. The shifting tides of World War II and the proven dominance of aircraft carriers rendered the battleship obsolete. Number 6. The H-class battleships. A series of monumental naval designs conceived by Nazi Germany in the late 1930s, intended to be the core of a new powerful German fleet. The designs were part of a massive rearmament program known as the Plan Z. The H-class designs grew progressively larger, with the final concept, the H-44, displacing over 140,000 tons and armed with 8 massive 20-inch guns. These vessels were intended to be the ultimate expression of German naval power, capable of dominating any rival fleet. The immense cost and resources required, combined with the outbreak of World War II and a strategic shift towards a submarine-centric navy, led to their cancellation. The H-class remains a testament to the ambitious, if ultimately unfeasible, naval plans of the Third Reich. Number 7. The Ersatz Yorck class battlecruiser. These World War I ships were intended as replacement for aging vessels of the Yorck class, and their construction was part of a larger plan to strengthen the Imperial German Navy. The class was designed to be faster and more heavily armed than their predecessor, with a main battery of 8 15-inch guns. 3 ships were laid down, but their construction was a casualty of the shifting priorities of the war. As the war progressed, Germany focused its resources on its submarine fleet, which was seen as a more effective weapon against the British blockade. The armistice of the 1918 brought an end to the project, and the incomplete hulls of the Ersatz Yorck class were scrapped, leaving them as one of the last dreadnoughts to be started but never completed. Number 8. The N3 class battleships. They were a series of revolutionary British designs from the early 1920s, intended to restore the Royal Navy's dominance after World War I. Had they been built, these would have been the most powerful battleships ever to sail. Their proposed armament was a staggering 9 18-inch guns, an unprecedented caliber for a modern warship. The designs were a direct response to a growing perception that the existing fleet was becoming obsolete. However, their construction was a casualty of the post-war peace. The Washington Naval Treaty of the 1922, which sought to limit naval armaments, led to the immediate cancellation of the entire program. The N3s remaining a captivating paper project representing the pinnacle of British battleship design that was never realized. At number 9, the G3 battlecruisers. Another series of advanced British warships designed in the early 1920s. These vessels were a radical departure from previous designs, featuring a unique all-forward main battery layout with 3 triple 16-inch gun turrets placed ahead of the superstructure. The innovative design allowed for a significant increase in firepower while remaining a sleek, high-speed profile. They were intended to outclass any contemporary battlecruiser or battleship, and their development was a direct response to similar naval programs in the United States and Japan. However, like the N3 class battleships, their construction was a casualty of the Washington Naval Treaty of 1922. The treaty effectively ended the global dreadnought race, leading to the cancellation of the G3 program and marking them as one of the most powerful and revolutionary warships that never saw the sea. Number 10. The Lion class battleships. A projected class of fast battleships for the Royal Navy designed in the late 1930s. As a successor to the King George V class, they were intended to be a significant step up, with a powerful main armament of 9 16-inch guns, a caliber the British had not used in modern battleships since the Nelson class of the 1920s. 2 ships, the Lion and Temeraire, were laid down in 1939. However, the outbreak of the World War II and shift in naval priorities led to the suspension of their construction. The immense resources required were instead diverted to building more immediate needs such as smaller escort ships and aircraft carriers. The Lion class was ultimately a casualty of a changing global conflict, with the unfinished hulls eventually being scrapped. They remain one of the last great battleships designed to have ever been planned.